Am I the jerk for reporting my coworker's safety violations straight to corporate? I've worked the overnight shift at a regional fulfillment center for almost 3 years, running the forklift line that moves pallets from receiving to the conveyor belts. It's not glamorous work, but I take the safety checklist seriously, because one bad inspection can mean somebody loses a finger, or worse. My coworker Marcus has been on the forklifts almost as long as I have. He's fast, funny, the kind of guy who brings donuts on Fridays and remembers everyone's birthday. He's also, it turns out, the kind of guy who's been signing off on safety inspections he never actually did. I found out by accident. I was covering his machine one night when his was in the shop, and I noticed the hydraulic line had a slow leak that should have been flagged weeks earlier. His signature was on every single one of those inspection sheets. When I checked the maintenance log against the actual repair tickets, at least 6 inspections had been falsified over 2 months. Also, he could hit his pallet per hour quota instead of taking his machine offline for a proper check. I brought it to my shift manager, Denise, first, like you're supposed to. She's known Marcus for years, they carpool together some mornings, and I could tell the second I laid the paperwork on her desk that she wasn't going to do anything real with it. "I'll have a word with him," she said, and told me not to make it a bigger deal than it needed to be. 2 weeks later, nothing had changed. The inspection sheets were still getting signed off in under a minute, which is physically faster than the checklist allows if you actually do it. So I went over her head. I emailed our corporate safety compliance office directly, attached photos of the leak and copies of the falsified sheets, and asked for a formal review. Corporate took it seriously. An inspector came out within 4 days, pulled 3 machines including Marcus's, and found enough to suspend him for 2 weeks without pay pending retraining. Denise was livid. She called me into her office and asked why I didn't trust her enough to handle it internally, why I had to go nuclear and make the whole shift look bad in front of corporate. She said I'd embarrassed her in front of her own boss, and that from now on I could forget about the better routes I usually get, since apparently I didn't need her help with anything. My schedule got quietly rearranged to the worst bay on the floor the very next week, the one next to the loading doors where it's freezing all winter. The shift split down the middle over it. Priya, who's worked receiving for years and has been complaining about equipment maintenance forever, pulled me aside on break to say thank you, that she'd nearly gotten clipped by a pallet jack with bad brakes last year, and nobody had listened to her either. But a few of the guys who are close with Marcus started calling me corporate's favorite under their breath, and one of them straight up asked why I couldn't just handle it like a normal person, instead of running to HR like a kid telling on his brother. Marcus came back from his suspension and hasn't said a single word to me since, which honestly stings more than I expected, because we used to actually be friendly, trading shifts and splitting lunch runs. Denise still acts like I stabbed her in the back, even though nothing I did was a lie, and even though the leak I found could have caused a real injury if it had gone unflagged much longer with a full pallet load riding on it. My husband thinks I did the only reasonable thing, once Denise sat on it for 2 weeks and changed nothing. My sister thinks I should have given Denise more time, or gone up the chain more gradually instead of straight to corporate on my first attempt. Even Priya admitted she probably wouldn't have gone over her manager's head that fast herself. Meanwhile, I'm the one working the worst bay on the floor, eating lunch alone most nights, wondering if there was a version of this where the leak still gets fixed, and I don't end up the villain of my own shift. Am I the jerk, or